Just back to the BlackRock piece, it feels like they are talking and pushing forward the Ethereum ETF. Obviously, they're talking up RWAs and taking action that kind of blew my mind. Meanwhile, Saylor had a kind of a symposium recently and flat out said there will never be another crypto ETF except for Bitcoin. Of course, maybe that's what he would say. But I'm just curious what your thoughts are for the future. The SEC and Gary and the current administration obviously has tried to slow the adoption of those things. But, the thought is if there's enough money behind it, then they can't be stopped. What do you think, Mark? You're never shy about speaking your opinion. That's what I like about you.
No, look, you bring up all the important points. So, of course, Michael's going to say that. And I think he's right in the sense of in the current administration and current SEC administration, zero chance.
Really?
Even with Larry saying, I want it, I think for whatever reason, Gary has more power right this second. And it's because, look, Gary's only where he is because Biden got elected, right? I mean, you can go back to the whole thing. Gary was working for, SBF's girlfriend's dad at MIT. And then he gets picked with no experience to be the head of the SEC. How does that work? So, crazy stuff.
Yeah.
But that said, so I understand why Michael says that. The flip side is what Larry wants, Larry does kind of get. So at the end, he wanted the Bitcoin ETF. 5 years ago, he said Bitcoin is the index of money laundering. In June of last year, he flipped and said, we're putting our application. I thought, that's it. It's approved. It's going to be approved. And we said, no, he's not good. I'm like, guys, this is going to be approved. And look, but for the case that went against Gensler, where he was kind of forced, maybe he would have stood up and said no. I don't know. I don't think so, but we will never know because the case went against Gary and Gary lost and Larry got what he wanted. So Larry's going to make a lot of money on IBIT. So the Ethereum is a little bit different in that Bitcoin is clearly a commodity. Now, whether that's good, bad, or indifferent, for all the reasons we talked about with futures and spoofing, but I believe there's a reason it was classified a commodity so that, the futures could spoof it. Ethereum historically been classified a commodity, but now they're trying to backtrack and say, no, it's a security. So we need to regulate it. At the end of the day, these are protocols, right? They're not securities. They're not really commodities. They function like commodities in some ways. But Ethereum's a little bit different in that it's really the base layer that other things are built on that do things. And what are they? And so I think it's a little more complicated. I do think the one thing I would have said it would have been approved because Lubin, one of the early guys, was so tight with the administration. And there's that whole group that, are very tight and they have Princeton ties and a bunch of things. But this lawsuit against consensus now is a little disconcerting. So now, if they lose that lawsuit the same way they lost the Bitcoin lawsuit, then I think Gary will be forced to approve. It doesn't look like they're going to lose this lawsuit because there are some different legal points. I'm not a lawyer, but what people are saying is it's less likely that this suit is unsuccessful versus the last one. Real world assets, they're all going to be tokenized. So I've been saying this for years. I always say it's imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. And I'm not saying Larry's copying me, but I've been saying every stock, every bond, every currency, every commodity, every piece of art, every collectible car, every private business, everything will be a token on a ledger. I've been saying that for 6 years. And I believe it because all a token on a ledger is a better way to track assets in the digital world. It's just an evolution of tech. And so, but how we do that Is it Ethereum based? Is it Solana based? Is it Bitcoin based? I can make the case now that with ordinals, we can start to move toward one chain to rule all chains. I can also make the case that Ethereum is bigger, more developer talent, and that there's some functionality there that Bitcoin doesn't have. And then you got the Solana issue, which is Solana is better, faster, cheaper. I shouldn't say better. It's faster, cheaper, maybe not better, but it's faster, cheaper. And so some developer activity is moving there. And so I think it's all good for the ecosystem. I think in the short run, to answer your question, I don't think they approved the ETH ETF because they're not going to be forced by the courts. And, the election's going to shake up a lot, I think. We'll see what happens, but I have a feeling that there could be some shakeups there. And then we'll move to the next chapter. But at the end of the day, we just got to keep remembering that all of this is about the tech. It's about the blockchain technology. And I know the Bitcoiners don't like it, but Bitcoin is a blockchain. Ethereum is a blockchain. It's a different blockchain, and Solana and all these others. And how many do we need? We don't need as many as we have today. Remember, there were 80 internet protocols. And today we use 5, 6, 7, whatever it is. Will we have 5, 6, 7 or 1 or 2? I don't know, but I don't need to know now. I just need to know that we can have investment opportunities, during the creation period.
So Jim Rickards has just recorded a video that's not available to anyone in the public, and he's going to be talking about how this upcoming recession is going to be fast, it's going to be bloody, it's going to be nasty. But at the same time, he's going to show you how you can position yourself to profit from all of this chaos. Now, we've made this video only available to our viewers. Go to londonreal.tv/Jim. Watch that immediately. I can't say enough good things about Jim Rickards. He understands the global economic system better than any guest I've ever had on London Real. His predictions are almost uncannily true, and you can learn how to profit from his vision, from his expertise, and his understanding of economics. So go to londonreal.tv/Jim or click the link below. It's an excellent, excellent look on what's going to happen in the future and how you can position yourself to profit from that. Jim is one of the best in the business, one of my favorite guests on London Real, and he's very, very good at predicting the future and showing us all to profit from it. So click the link, and I hope you enjoy. Hey, it's Brian Rose, founder of the DeFi Academy. I've told you my 4-week crypto bootcamp is amazing, but don't take my word for it. This is what my students are saying.
The DeFi Academy was an amazing experience for me. It took me totally out of my comfort zone.
In this course, I was challenged, I was held accountable, and pushed to do things that honestly weren't always easy.
It's been phenomenal, and I can't believe we're already up on our 4 weeks. It has flown by.
Going through this DeFi accelerator by far was one of the best courses I've taken.
You do this course, you really get into the nitty-gritty of the activities that will make you comfortable with decentralized finance.
Thank you so much to Brian and everyone at London Real and the DeFi Academy for even putting together an amazing course like this.
Anybody else that wants to do it, please sign up. It is well worth the money.